All right, so this is the beginning of week 3 of business math. So we are officially halfway through, which is cool. Like I said, anybody have any questions on last week's stuff before we get started in the new material? Donna or Hannah, Vanessa? No, everybody's good? Okay. Some of y'all, I do want to address that some of y'all are behind in your work. The discussion questions, I know we've only had one, that was last week. We have one this week, we only have 3 in this class. They're worth a big chunk of your grade, so take a few minutes and get those done. I hate to see somebody's grade suffer for something that's not really that going to be that bad once you get into it. So just try to, if you can. All right, so nobody has any questions on last week? Has anybody worked ahead, have any questions on this week?
I have some questions, but I'll throw you an email.
Okay. I mean, usually what I say, is it questions on the coursework?
Just about an extension. I was rushed off for a getaway this weekend out to the country with no internet access. And
okay, go on WebAssign and request
from
extension
there?
Yeah, because the way Cengage has it set up is it's easy to give extensions, but you have to request them. I don't really have a place to just go in and extend the time without extending the actual end date. You can't see my hand now, but there it is. But can't see it to the actual end date is out. So you have to extend the entire class and the entire end date. So instead of doing that, everybody just ask for it and do it on there, and I'll get to it. It shouldn't take me long. So.
Okay. Mindy, that's really adorable.
It's funny. All right, well, let me get started here. Did somebody drop off? 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like somebody dropped out, didn't they? Don't remember who it was either. And they're back.
Oh, she'll be right back.
Yeah. Might have been in the chat. I didn't. Oh, she says she's going to restart her computer. Okay. Move the chat over here so I can keep an eye on it. All right, well, let's get started on 3, which is chapters 7, 8, and 9. One of the things I want to cover is markup and markdown. Well, let's do trade discounts first. Anybody ever dealt with trade discounts before? Silence. Okay, so the first on the chapter 7 stuff, the first few problems, just identifying pieces of an invoice, that should be pretty self-explanatory, you guys. I don't want to have to beat that into the ground. But one of the, like on the chapter 7 homework, okay, so basically a trade discount, the way I always try to explain it is just from, I used to work for an equipment company. And so what would happen was they would send us their catalog in a price sheet, which was contain MSRP, which is your retail price. And then depending on what level we were at buying for that year would depend on our discount structure. And so our trade discount would be what discount we got off of retail price. Okay, if that their posted retail price. Okay, and then so we had to we didn't actually have a separate price list. We had to figure it on our own. And sometimes they were depending on the company, they were really strange discounts. You know, they'd be like, we're going to give you a 20, a 10, and a 5, which isn't 35%. It's you take 20% off, and then off of that, you take 10% off, and off of that, you would take 5% off. And yeah, and I looked, what? And the way they did that, that's how they separated the levels. Like if you were a level 1 distributor, they give you 20% off. But if you were making your sales numbers and you're a level 2 distributor, they give you a 20 and a 10. And then like if you were really making your numbers and you were killing it, then they wanted to give you, you wanted a deeper discount, then they would give you a 20, a 10, and a 5. And so the way that would work would be, and we'll just say something that's $100 because that's an easy number to mess with. Go to my, okay. I would get 20% off, which means, you know, they take $20 off, which will leave my cost at $80. All right, easy enough. If I got an extra 10% off that, then I would get another $8 off of that, which would make it $72. And then if they get, oh, that's ugly. 72, there we go. And then if I needed, then if you hit it again, they give you like another 5% off of that. So that's how it went in stages. And I know it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but that's the way a lot of these equipment guys used to do. So on that being a trade discount, like on this number 5, it says calculate the trade discount, round your answer to the nearest cent. And, you know, if they give you, and we'll just go with our $100 again. Okay, and that's going to be your list price or retail or MSRP, whatever you want to say. You're going to find there's, you know, a dozen names for the same thing. And they say our trade discount is 15%. Now there's 2 ways to do this. Okay. The first one is to figure out what your trade discount is. You're going to take the $100 times the 15%, which is 0.15, and you'll get $15. And that's why we use easy numbers like this in examples so we can see it. Okay, so your trade discount is 15, which means your price would be the 100 minus 15, which is 85. Simple enough, right? So, and that's just like, that's one real similar to number 5. And number 6. Number 6 actually asks you for your net price. So if you have a list price, you have a net price. Net price is, of course, what you're going to pay. And in some circumstances, depending on what you're selling, sometimes you can sell for over list price too. And the only reason I mentioned that is because going car shopping this last week with my son, some of these dealerships are asking over list price for the new cars because they're so hard. So they don't have it very many. So if the, you know, let's say Ford says you can sell it for $22,000, some of these guys are asking $24,000 for it. So it's a little bit of price gouging, I think. See, where else are we at? Okay. Now they also have what's called a net price factor. And a lot of this stuff, once you get used to it, your net price factor, and I'm just going to abbreviate here. And I'm going to assume that everybody gets a whiteboard, right? Get a thumbs up from, okay. Your net price factor is going to be 100% minus your trade discount. Okay. So, and that kind of, like we did before, if something costs $100 and we get a 15% trade discount, If you take the 100% minus your 15%, that gives you your net price factor, which is going to be equal to 85%. And that, once you have that number, you can figure out what your price is going to be, because then you're going to take your list price and multiply it times your net price factor, and that gives you your net cost. So that kind of, it doesn't really, I say it cuts out a step. So instead of having, if you know your net price factor, instead of multiplying your price by your trade discount and subtracting it from the price, this kind of handles it already for you. And once you have that number, you know whatever your price might be. And I'm going to do this. There we go. And where that comes in handy is when they stack those discounts like I was telling you about. And we'll say you get a 20, a 10, and a 5. And that's always spelled out for you. So I'm going to take my $100. Okay. And, well, actually, that's wrong. I'm going to take my 100% minus my 20% is going to be 80%. Now I got to take another 10% off that, right? So 80 times 10%, 0.10 gives you $8. So then I take 80 minus 8 is equal to 72. And then let's say you get another 5%. So I'm going to take that 72 times 0.05, which would be what, $3.60. Okay. Subtract that out, be 70, 69, 68.40. So your net price factor on that would be 68.4%. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? And like I said, and that's more of a real world example than you'll get on some of these problems. But that's just, you know, how we had to deal with it. So, you know, now from now on, whatever your price is, whether it be $100 or $127 or $50, you just multiply that times your 0.684, and that'll give you your price, right? Which be what, $34.20 if it's $50. Now I'm gonna, instead of, I don't want to get too sidetracked on this one, but I think that is and that's why you have all these terms like net price factor and ways to figure them out, because when you know, if you work for certain companies, it's not quite as cut and dried as you just get a 15%, 20%, 30% trade discount. And if I'm erasing too fast, because I know Hannah Davis is always taking notes. So if I go too fast for you, stop me. All right, let's look at, I want to find a good one here. I got notes. Number 8 on the homework. This is the actual problem, or should be the actual problem. I think some of your numbers might be different, but I just want to look at them. They give you a list price. $4,500. Turn my, maybe that'll work better. And they're asking you for your trade discount, your trade discount rate, and then they give you the net price. Okay. There's a little button on this pen, and every time I try to use it, I actually hit it with my thumb, and it makes it hard to right on this tablet. And so they're going to ask you for this, and they give you the net price of $35.35. All right. And first thing to do is ask you for your trade discount. Then I ask you for a trade discount rate. They're not asking you for trade discount rate yet. They're asking for your trade discount, and that's easy. That's going to be your list price minus your net price, which on here is 4,500 minus 35.35. And so that should be $965. So that's our trade discount. That's how much in real dollar numbers they're discounting it off. Okay. And then they want you to know, then they want to ask you, what is your, okay, the actual problem says calculate the trade discount in dollars and trade discount rate as a percentage. Round your answer to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. And on this one, they're asking you to do it based off list price. I think on this, if I remember looking at it earlier, sometimes they ask you for your for a rate, and I may have been the other chapter, based on list price. Sometimes they do it based on cost. So you have to pay attention to actually what they're asking for, what they're asking to base it off of. The cool thing is your trade discount rate is going to be equal to your trade discount over your list price. Okay. So as we do those numbers, 965 divided by 4,500, and you're going to get a number that looks like 0.214. Okay. They also ask you to round it to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. Since this is not a percentage, and if we remember, to turn a decimal into percent, we just move our decimal over 2 places. So that's going to give us 21.44%. But they asked us to round it to the nearest 1/10, which is the one right next to the decimal here. So I look at, I take this one, I look to the one to the right. If it's less than 5, you leave this one alone. If it's 5 or greater, you add 1 to it. So just to follow their example, 21.4%. Everybody good there? Hannah, and Hannah, and Donna? Pretty
Yes.
easy? Okay. Maya, she's good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna see if there's, I looked through this earlier, and I think that's really all the ones that are you know what? I lied a little bit. Here's where they got one here where they stack the discount. On number 17 on the homework. So we're going to look at that one. They give you, and what it says, suppose a certain appliance store purchases the following items, and what they have, what gives you an invoice. Calculate the extended total after the trade discounts for each line, the invoice subtotal and the invoice total. Round your answers to the nearest cent. Okay. They give you, and each item has a different discount rate. Okay. So let's just do the top line, and you follow the same pattern for the other ones. Everybody can still hear me, correct?
Yep.
Oh. Thought I had that muted. Okay. So on the first line, you get a quantity, you get a unit, you get a unit list, you get a trade discount, and then they ask for, you get extended total. All right. The information they give you, you buy 150 each, and I didn't put this in, but these are blenders. We're buying blenders today. The unit list price is $49.95. Okay. The trade discount is 20, 15, and 15. All right. Oh, Vanessa changed her picture, but no, she's just standing really motionless. I thought it was another picture. Oh. So remember what we said, and I like to use 100. 100 times 0.20 is $20. So 100 minus 20 equal to 80. Okay. 80 times 0.15 is going to be, what's $12, or yeah, 12. So we take the 80 minus 12, which is $68. And then once again, we take the 68 times 10% again. All right, that's 6.8 plus 3.4, which would be $10.20. Subtract that $10.20 from the 68, and you should have 57.80. Is anyone happen to be checking my numbers? Because this could go off the rails real quick here. Nope, I got it right. Miracles do happen. So that's our discount right here is 57.80% or 57.8%. So now I can take the price of this blender, $49.95 times 0.578, and that one I'm not going to do in my head, so let me pull it up. And what we get here is 28,8711.
See my class, so I had to switch it back over to my computer so I could use the phone.
Now, if you
My bad, I'm
notice,
sorry.
oh, you're good. You're good. If you notice, I haven't rounded it yet. One of the keys here is you don't round till the very end. Okay. Round at the end. If you round too early, you'll increase possibly what we call a rounding error, and you'll be off at the end. All right, if that makes sense. So this is the price for each one of those. And then our quantity is 150. plus that times 150 is 4330.665. All right. Now they want us to round it to the nearest cent. So I look over here, since that's a 5, I go 4330.67. And let's see if they like our answer here. Yep. So for 150 blenders, our total price is going to be 4330.67. And then they give you 3 more items underneath that. They ask for an invoice subtotal, which means you're going to take all 4 of those items, add them together, and then they throw one more thing in, which is an extra 5.5% discount on the total order. And they give it to you like this, 5.5%, because they don't want to be, you know, consistent. They want to throw a fraction in at you. Well, 5.5% is 5.5%. I move this over 2 places, turn into a decimal. So your extra volume discount will be 0.0, you're going to multiply it by 0.055. And that's going to give you your discount. And then you'll subtract that out as well. So I think that's probably as complicated as it's going to get on that chapter. Doing all right there, Mindy? Here's TJ. Add her to my list. All right, any questions on what we covered there? I know we covered it really quick. All right, everybody, speak now, forever hold your peace. Anybody still need to write any of this chicken scratch down?
No, I'll get it when I rewatch the video.
All right, I'm gonna clear it out then. All right, let me make sure that was the last one. Now, they also cover, and I forgot about this too, which is an early pay discount. I don't know if anybody's ever dealt with that. These same kind of companies that get these trade discounts would also give us an early pay discount. So if I would pay that invoice within 15 days of receiving it, so they can get their money as soon as possible, they might give you an extra 2 or 3 or 4% off of your total discount, of your total bill. And the reason they do that is it's just that incentive to try to get you to pay as early as possible. Okay. And so, and a lot of companies will do that. Say, hey, you know, you pay me within 15 days, you can take 2% off. Anything after 50, you know, or let me see, some of the ones be, I know they'd be like, if you pay within 15 days, you can take 3% off. Before 30 days, you might be able to take 1.5% off. And then after 30 days, which is your normal billing period, then you have to pay the entirety of the invoice. And so that should be that. I'm trying to see. Okay, so that's, and there may, if you guys have any questions on that chapter 7, let me know, and I will do what I can to help you guys out. All right, so chapter 8, markups and markdowns. And let me go to my next page of my notes here. Over there. Let's look at the first one here. How much time do we have? Oh, we have time. Okay. On the first problem on chapter 8, the homework, they say calculate the missing information, round dollars to the nearest cent and percents to the nearest tenth of a percent. So 10% is just one place after the decimal, right? So that's where they want you to round it to. And here's the information they give you on this. And it's item cost. Move out of my way. Amount markup. Your selling price and your percent markup based on cost. And that's where we're dealing with cost here. I remembered I'd seen it somewhere in all this work, but I looked at all 3 chapters and so it started getting muddled in my head as well. So I feel for you ladies, and I don't think I have, yep, I got Ridge here, ladies and gentlemen. They tell you the cost is $41.40. The amount of your markup, is $23.50. That's right. Yep. And then they want to know what your selling price is and your percent markup from cost. Okay. Selling price is easy, right? We had the markup in the cost price together. That gives me $64.90. That's my selling price, right? If we have actual dollar figures and I know what my cost is, I know what the actual dollar price of markup, boom, I just add those two together, we call it good. Now the percent markup based on cost, okay, and they're going to show you in the book, the formula is going to look something like percent markup with a sub C there, which is based on cost. If they said this, oh, if they said the exact same thing, no, there we go. With an L, that would be percent markup based on list. Hi, Jennifer.
I'm back.
All right. I thought you were here. Yep, there you are.
Yeah, I had to switch devices.
It should be me. I'm running 2 devices and 3 screens here. I feel like a madman running, you know, I don't know what
Oh
I'm doing,
goodness, I can imagine.
Okay, so percent markup based on cost is going to be your markup in dollars over your cost. Okay, these are not percentages, these are just that. So your markup was $23.50 divided by 41.40, and that's going to be somewhere over 50%, right? 0.5676, which as I turn that into a percentage becomes 56.76%, but they want you to round it to that number right there. So that becomes 56.8%, okay, on your percent markup. And the reason you need to know whether they're marking it from list or cost, because you want to know what your denominator is. All right. So if they tell you cost, then your cost becomes your denominator. If they were to tell you your list, then your list price would become denominator. And depending on the industry, and this is where it gets a little weird, depending on the industry, depends on, you talking to us, Donna?
You can hear me? I was muted.
No, I saw your mouth moving. I thought maybe you were trying to talk to us without didn't realize. it
Oh,
was muted.
no, I was talking to my son.
Oh,
Sorry.
oh, I just didn't want you over here asking questions and thinking we were ignoring you.
Oh, no.
I mean, if you were like one of the Hannahs, we'll ignore you all day, but you know, not Donna. She's important. So, depending on the industry, depending on the company, depending on a lot of factors, will depend on whether they consider your markup from list or from cost. Okay, so that's one of those things you just gotta know how to do it. And then once you get into whatever, if there's an industry or a company that wants to done a specific way, at least you have that background and you know, hey, this, I know what they mean, because that's what this is all about. So there's no single magic bullet formula for every company in the world. Or every industry in the world. It's all like every other question I ever get asked is, you know, my answer is always, well, it depends. So, all right. So the next one, check our time here. I'm gonna clear this one out. All right. I think I want to skip down to number 4 on the chapter 8 homework. And if you have any, because we don't have a whole lot of time, we don't have all the time we need to cover everything or every problem. I know when I taught in Sierra Holloway is here. Write her down. There we go. If you're doing this for 3 hours a week for 16 weeks, then we have a little more time to cover everything in depth. Here, when we're going through it a month at a time, and we have limited time here, I try to hit the high points, and then I'll let y'all, you know, ask the questions of me in case I missed anything, or you know, you don't specifically understand something. What's number 4? Say, a wholesaler requires a markup of six. English is hard. Let's try this again. A wholesaler requires a markup of 65% based on cost per merchandise sold. What would the selling price of a watch be in dollars if the watch cost is 50%? So my markup, the percent markup, is equal to 65%. Now remember, 65% lets us, gives us a better visual of what we're talking about. But when it comes to doing the math, we need to turn that into a decimal and make it 0.65. And we do that just by moving decimal point over 2 things. 0.65 and 65, 0.65 and 65% are the same number, same value, just different ways of looking at it. And we've kind of covered that before of, hey, there's different ways to look at a number. You know, 1/2 is the same as 0.5, which is the same as 5/10, which is, you know, however you want to say it. So we're able to manipulate these numbers back and forth to meet our needs. So our selling price, and here's another formula for you. Our selling price is going to equal to our cost times 100% plus our percent markup. Okay, and this is what they're asking us for. So they say their selling price is equal to our cost. What did I say it was? $50 is equal to 50 times. Now 100 is 100% is the same as 1, right? Move the decimal over 2 places left. 100% is times 1. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 1 plus my markup percent. We decide that's 0.65. Now remember, I believe we touched on PEMDAS maybe. Anybody remember that? Don't remember it? You do, Hannah?
No,
G?
but I remember it in high
I
school.
remember it.
Remember? Okay, maybe I did not touch on it. Stop it. Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, and these are in order in which they come. And then addition and subtraction, those are in order in which they come. And that tells you what order to do this
Order
in.
to go in.
Okay, yes, thank you. Like I said, English is hard. What happens is I never get enough sleep on Sunday night. So for Monday night class, I'm already always wore out. All right, I explained that to Hannah G earlier. I was like, I sleep in too late on Sundays and I don't want to sleep on Sunday night. So so my sell price is going to be equal to $50 times 1 plus 0.65 is 1.65. All right. And I'm going to look at this. I'm going to actually do the numbers here. And this one gives us a nice clean number of $82.50. So that's going to be your selling price. All right. Now, some of these numbers seem out of line. I know because you're like, well, you know, I buy a watch for 50 and I sell it for 32.50. And so my actual markup in dollars, okay, my actual markup in dollars is $32.50, right? And that seems like an awful lot to make. But remember, these companies have a lot of expenses before they actually get to profit, because this is going to be what we call net profit, or I'm sorry, gross profit. That's your gross profit. What it cost you, what you sell it for minus what it cost you is going to be a gross profit number. Okay, but that doesn't really tell you how much a company is making, because involved in this 32.50, they have to pay somebody to order it. They have to pay somebody to receive it in. They have to pay for a building to store it in. They may have, if they have if you have a retail facility, then you have to pay for a lease, electricity, not to mention, you know, and I think we covered that last week, you know, taxes you have to pay on your employees. And so all these expenses get lumped in. So even though it looks like, hey, you're making $32 per watch, by the time you take all the expenses out of that, they maybe making $10 per watch. Okay. And that watch may not move. All right, especially in a retail facility. If anybody goes to, you know, we all go to Walmart and realize that that building costs a lot of money, all the employees to unload, stock the shelves, the electricity on the building, maintenance, and just taxes on the employees, all that dips into this. And so, and that watch, you may put it on a shelf, that watch may sit there for a day, a week, a month, 6 months. So you've spent this $50 to let something sit around and not sell for possibly how long? Okay, so all that has to be taken into consideration when you mark an item up. So we have, that's extra knowledge, extra perspective. Okay, so everybody good on that one? Let's actually back up here. I want to look at number 3. Clear this one out. The more I think about it, I'll look at my notes here, the more I think we need to. Okay, so they say the problem says a wholesaler sells a guitar for $1,244.04. So your guitar, there's an I in there somewhere. Okay. I'm much better on a whiteboard in the classroom, by the way. I can feel your judgment. Or I can feel my own judgment is what it is. Okay, so the guitar sell price is going to be $1,244.40. What is the percent markup based on the cost if the wholesaler paid $680 for the guitar? Once again, that looks out of hand, right? We're like, man, they're almost charging double. But once again, has anybody ever been to a music store? Okay, imagine all those guitars. That inventory doesn't get turned over on a timely basis. Some of those guitars could sit there for gosh knows how long, right? So you've tied up this bit of money right here, just waiting for some middle-aged guy named Steve to come in and decide he wants to learn how to play guitar and buy one, right? Yeah, we'll go with middle-aged. So all that has to be taken into consideration because you're paying to house that thing. Your lease on your building doesn't go away. Your electrical doesn't go away. You still have to have employees demand the thing. Okay. It has to be open on business hours, whatever those are. And whether you sell 5 guitars that day or 50 guitars that day, you still need people to sit there and make sure that the store is manned, because the worst thing that can happen is they walk up and you have a sign on the front door. If you want a guitar, call 918 or whatever, or go online, right? Maybe you want to go in, look at guitars and try them out. So all that is taken into consideration, but I'm getting way off here. So your markup on the guitar is going to be your selling price minus your cost, which is $1,244.40 minus $680, which is equal to what? I'll type it in. I'm going brain dead here. $564.40. So that's your markup, right? That's your markup in dollars. A little sub dollar sign there, although you don't need to. It's not a real thing. Okay, so your percent markup from cost. If you notice, every symbol here has a meaning, right? We just don't throw letters at you to confuse you. Is going to be your markup in dollars over your cost in dollars. So $564.40 is my markup. My cost is $680. Divided by 680. Oh, this number comes out clean too. I wasn't expecting that. Is equal to 0.83 exactly. Want to turn that into a percentage, that becomes 83%. And mark that guitar up 83%. And many things, like I said, depends on your industry, depends on the company you work for, but there's a lot of things that have a markup of this or even more. And one of the reasons for that is when you take a risk at buying an item and putting it in your store that may not sell quickly, the markup's always higher. Musical instruments will be one. Furniture is one too. Markup on furniture is terrible, 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 terrible. And the reason one of those things is because they have to have a big warehouse and a big furniture store. And you may buy a dozen couches, but how many of those couches are you going to sell? You know, hopefully all of them, but how long is it going to take? You know, and many people, maybe they don't like the couch. Maybe they don't want it in brown. Maybe they want it in green. Then you got to order another one, right? So it's just one of those deals where, although it seems unfair that we would mark something up like that, we have to realize as a company, when we're doing sales like this, you're there to make money, right? That's why we're all doing this. That's why I work where I work and you guys work where you work. And that's why we all go to school, you know, and it's all in the end, usually about, you know, increasing, you know, our net worth. And some items are just expensive. So, all right, everybody got that? Was it too confusing? Huh. All right, what was the other one I had here? Page, and all right, I want to look at number 5 as well. Okay, a customer paid $75.79 for a raincoat. Okay, he's going to say that's their sale price. If the percent markup based on cost is 43%, what is the cost? So my percent markup from cost is equal to 43%. It's equal to 0.43. And then they want to know, what is the cost in dollars? All right, so let's go with another formula here. Our cost in dollars is going to be equal to our sale price divided by, and they say 100%. I'm going to tell you, for the denominator, they tell you 100% plus percent markup based on cost. I'm going to say it's 1 plus, you know, your markup based on cost, because I'm going to go ahead and change those over to decimals. Just, you can't do anything with percentages. You need to have decimals during the math. So I'm going to go ahead and change it over. So my sale price is $75.79 divided by 1 plus 0.43. Okay, and if you notice, I kind of just instantly moved everything over into a decimal. I didn't keep it as a percentage because, like I said, as a tool to help you understand what it is, percentages are fine. But when you actually math, it's just, you got to put them in decimals. Now, a lot of calculators have the percent button on them, and those are fine. But at the same time, it just makes it a little more complicated. So 775.79 divided by 1.43 is going to give you, see if they give us a crazy number here. And it comes out nice and even again. I love it when that happens. It's going to be equal to $53. All right. So we know sell price, $75.79. Cost is equal to 53. And then we know our markup in dollars is going to be $22.79. I don't think they asked for it in that question, but you know, it's just so we remember how to do it. How are we doing on time? We got about 5 minutes left. I think we can cover hopefully one more. I'm going to head down the line here, maybe do a little more complicated one. All right. All right, this one, let's go to number 12 on the chapter 8 homework. Okay, a purchaser paid $375.30 for the TV. Hey, clear all. Where'd they go? A sale price is $375.30. Stop hitting the button, sir. There we go. The cost to the seller was $270. The seller's markup was 39%. Percent markup on cost was 39%. Right. Okay, and then they say, okay, so let me read this again. A purchaser paid $375.30 for a TV that cost the seller $270. If the seller's markup was 39% of the $270 cost, then what would the percent markup based on the selling price? Round your answer. Okay. Let's go with our formulas here. Our percent markup based on the selling price is going to be the percent markup on cost over 100% plus the percent markup on cost. Okay, so we converted all that to decimals already. No, stop with the Teams thing. Hit it with my hand. There we go. We converted all that. We converted this to a decimal already. Makes it easy. And we know 100% is equal to 1 right off the bat. All right, so and then we just plug it in. So our percent markup on selling price is going to be equal to our markup over cost, which is 39.39 over 1 plus 0.39. 0.39 divided by 1.39. We'll do that real quick. .280576, which is equal to, and let's make sure they didn't give us any special instructions on, round your answer to the nearest 1/10 of a percent. Okay, which is what we have for. I'm gonna move this around. 0.280576, which gives me 28.0576%. They want it rounded to here. I look next door, that's 5 or above. So we should get 28.1% as an answer. And I think that might help y'all out. Any questions, concerns? Anybody want to yell at me, curse at me? No? Sierra unmuted. I was afraid I was about to get yelled at, so.
No, sorry, my phone's doing something wacky.
That's all right. So, okay, so that is, our class is now officially over. If anyone has any questions that they want to cover from last homework, anything here, I'm more than willing to stick around for as long as you guys need for any help. Otherwise, I'm going to just call it a night for whoever wants to buckle and bounce.
Alrighty, thank you. I'll see you Monday.
All right. All right. See y'all Monday.